Any content provided by our bloggers or authors are of their opinion and are not intended to malign any religion, ethnic group, club, organization, company, municipality, individual, or anyone or anything.
He's a surgeon. He's a 100-ton boat captain. He's a lieutenant on Seaside Heights Beach Patrol in New Jersey. He's a member of the Coast Guard Auxiliary. He's Dr. Michael Kachmar. Need answers to your medical questions? We have them. Listen in to hear latest on medical topics related to all that and more.
Hello, everyone. This is Dr. Michael Kachmar. How are you? This is Scrubbing Up with Dr. Michael Kachmar, and I am Dr. Michael Kachmar.
Yeah, you are.
And today's date is the October the 21st, a year of our Lord, 2022. And Jeremy, if you want to know where everything is, go in. We're doing a little technical here. Just hit the screen here for me, and up top, see on the right, all of those things. No, on the right. You're right.
Yeah, right.
All of those things are what will come up. So you could hit those things, and they're overlays. There you go. Okay? There you go. And you can move everything around. So anyway, this is a video podcast. I'm Dr. Michael Kachmar. I'm a board-certified reconstructive foot and ankle surgeon. I operate on multiple hospitals. I'm a full attending at multiple hospitals. I'm in practice for about, 30 years, Jeremy?
30 years.
And this is a political medical show. We try to, keep our, we do some cases a week, my surgery. We show some of the cases. But we also talk about the politics in medicine, which is, a very interesting thing. We try to bring a perspective to that. Today with me, as always, is my sidekick, Jeremy. You want to say hello, Jeremy?
Hey, everybody. How you doing over there? Yay.
So Jeremy has no training in anything, but he stayed at a Holiday Inn. He stayed at a Holiday Inn.
I did.
For a weekend.
And it was atrocious. Yeah.
And he knows everything. So Jeremy represents the man in the street,
right,
or the man in the corner, or the man in the alley, or the man in the gutter. I don't know.
Yeah.
We're the man outside though.
the man, the myth, and the legend. Yeah, that's me.
So we today we have a lot of things we want to talk about. So we're going to go to our whiteboard, and here's our whiteboard, and so it has our an outline what we're going to talk about today. So today we're going to go and discuss transgender in the United States.
Transgender in the U.S.
Right, and under that basket, we're talking about parental consent, sex education, school districts. Are they hiding information about gender? We don't know, right? We don't know. And I'm going to give you my generalized impression about this whole topic. We're not going to get into. You'll see what we're going to get into and not get into. But basically, what I want to say about it is this. I think fundamentally, the parents of children have the right to decide to a large extent, maybe not completely, but I would say, unless it's a child, and again, this is where it gets into a little shaky, but the parents should have, first of all, knowledge of what's going on with their children and have a large amount of the ability to say what happens to those children. I obviously, if the parent's crazy or they're hurting a child, they can be taken away. But for the most part, generally speaking, in this country, we've always had it where a young person under 18 is still under the care of the parents. We do have a generalized idea in this country that if you're under 18, you can't sign a contract, you can't get married, you can't. Some people saying you can't carry a gun. We try to shield our children for a lot of different reasons. But the idea is that you're not competent to make decisions. You're not competent to take on the world, and you still need your parents' guidance. So I think that that's where I come from. I don't think the state, the government, should be the one who takes care of these kids. I think it should be the parents. Now, the child has some say in the matter, but I think, again, the parents should have the thing. Now, just generally speaking, Jeremy, don't go down a rabbit hole on specifics, but generally speaking, what's your opinion on what the parents' rights should be? Because you are a parent. We all are parents. What do you think your rights should be?
This whole topic has bothered me for so long. I've thought about it. I've tried to think about it from every angle I possibly could. It's, Tucker the other day, he was talking about
Tucker Carlson.
Yeah. Was talking about the mutilation of these children's bodies and stuff. Yeah, I partly believe that's what's happening. Like my wife had weight loss surgery, and I was against it.
Right.
I didn't think she should. I think you're given the body God gave you, and it's up to you to do with it as you like eat healthy, whatever. I don't. You can look at me on the screen. I don't eat healthy, but my point is though. I was on the, then I became on the fence about it, and and then I agreed. This, however, is completely different. This is happening to children who aren't old enough to make these decisions for themselves.
But stop. But I'm asking you a specific question. What, generally speaking, forget about transgender for a second.
Okay.
Parents' rights with their children, abortion, medical care, education.
Well, all of that's being stripped from us.
So my point is, what's your point? What's your position on if you became the president of the United States tomorrow? What's your position on parents' rights with regard to children? Or the other way to look at it, what's the children's rights with regard to the parents? Under 18, who makes the decisions about their education, about their care, about what clothes they wear? So I mean, it's a straightforward.
Yeah, but no, it's not. It is a straightforward question, but there are exceptions to the rules and all of that. But I think, as a parent myself, I think it's wrong. I don't even like to say that it's extreme, because extreme means, well, you can still do it, but that's extreme. No. We used to have things where, all right, you're at this age, you can't do that. You got to be 21 to make those decisions for yourself, and that was good. Now you're asking me, should the parents make the decisions or the government? And I'm telling you, yeah, that sounds great, and I would want that. But unfortunately, we've been seeing some parents who aren't well themselves, and they're allowing this to happen to their kids. So if we did pass that and say, oh, well, it goes into the parents' responsibility, we're still in the same boat. We're still going to have kids that are being mutilated, and now they're going to be mutilated while holding their parents' hand.
Okay, well, that's a good answer, and that's what I wanted to hear from you. What's your position on it? It goes both ways. Does a child have a right, and does a parent have a right? Let's bring in, just like everything else, there's a third component here. Because unless the parents are, where they do it in certain countries, they you don't need a doctor to do a circumcision. You don't need a doctor to do the circumcision on a girl, which is done, I think, in certain parts of the world, and actually the United States. I think in different religious areas.
Yeah.
But these other procedures, most of the time, you need a doctor. You need a facility. You need an anesthesiologist. You need a hospital setting. You need axillary people, and you are doing these complicated procedures. So it takes more than just the parents. You have to have the medical society okay with it, and because it becomes a medical procedure.
But I also think a great level of therapy is involved, not just for the kids, but for the parents themselves. And with somebody who is not connected into that, is like they have counselors that they'll counsel them, but they're also pushing them towards that as well.
Right, but then
somebody who's unconnected from the whole thing, counseling these people and showing them the bad, as well as
Okay, so you're okay. So let me ask you this: if you get a kid who's 10 years old, and he says, I got breast, say 14, she's getting breast and vagina. I don't think I'm a girl. I want my breast taken off, and I want a penis made down there. And you go to counseling, and then the parents say, okay, are you okay that should be done? The doctors take the patient and they operate on him. Do you think that's okay? Should a state or the federal government say, no, you can't do that?
Yeah, no. I mean, like when I brought up the counseling, that's if.
Okay, they have counseling. They had counseling,
yeah, but who was the counselor?
Oh, okay. Yeah. Whoever you want. You pick the counselor who you want. You could counsel them.
See,
my point is,
I don't believe it. I don't believe it should be happening at all. That's really my take.
Okay.
So while I have no control over what's going on right now,
right?
That's why I'm bringing up counselors or doing this, like roadblocks along the way, so people can think a little harder about the choices they're about to make. But I already know that they're going to make the bad choices and the wrong choices.
All right. So let me throw another one at you. What if you're 21 or 18, 19? Let's just say you're 21 and older.
Yeah.
Can you, if you want, have a sex change?
Yeah. And what else?
Should we allow
what
that?
Else, what
Should,
else
you know,
should
should
happen though?
No.
We're talking
No,
about
it's about the whole thing, counseling, and the whole thing. But should it be allowed that a person who's 21 who can make their own decisions have that done? What about a woman who's what about you? A woman who wants to have breast enlargement. So what if you want to, whatever, any kind of cosmetic surgery? Because it some of it could be just cosmetic. My point is that if it's 21 and above, should we have any right? Should the government have any right in telling that person they can or cannot do it if the medical profession wants to do it? The counselings are there. Everybody's okay. They signed off.
Right, well, let's take this off the table first, okay? Let's take transgender off the table.
We did already. I'm just talking about any kind of surgery.
Yeah, any kind of surgery. So now there are people out there, and I've seen them. I've seen pictures of these people,
right,
who have their faces cosmetically altered to look like panthers or some other
okay,
thing that.
He should be allowed to do that.
Should that be allowed? No.
Okay, so if you're president of the United States, you would stop all of that.
So that means if so long as you have the money and a doctor who's willing.
Well, the government pays for it. The government will pay for it.
You can have them mutilate you in any fashion you like.
Oh, if it's your body.
I don't know.
How about
I know because I know what you're waiting for. You're dangling this piece of yarn in front of me. You want me to say like, no, they shouldn't. They shouldn't allow any of this. And you're all damned.
So let's just go. Let's follow. So here's the deal. The controversy in this country is really transgender surgery has been going on for years and years. In Colorado, there was a general surgeon doing it, probably 100 of them cases a year. 60 Minutes did a profile on them, probably in the 80s, 90s. I don't know. They do it in Iran, Iraq. They do it in the Muslim countries. I mean, it's done around the whole world. It's nothing new. Okay, people have been getting surgery done. What's a little bit different now is we have the hormones. We have these drugs that could actually do a lot, just like abortions. A lot of abortions in the United States are not done by physical suction of the fetus. It's done by pills. Right. You could do now pharmacological abortion. So my point is that technology has changed, and where I think we're going into a new realm is the pediatric patients that are getting involved in the procedures, either the puberty blockers, or the surgery. I don't want to get into
that's where it gets a bit nuts.
Right. But here's what I want to do. I don't want to get into whether or not it's going to help the child or hurt the child. Follow me on this. My argument here is what I want people to understand is the rights, the civil rights, and the way our society is structured, when it comes to our children. Can a child have an abortion at 14 years old without the parents knowing about it? Because there are places in the United States where the parents will never be known or told. The parents won't be told. In some school districts, the kids are going to get gender teaching, and the parents won't know. So my question is the rights of the student, the rights of the parents. My opinion on this is that in only small amount of circumstances should the parents not be involved in this. Now, the other side of the coin is okay, I'm saying is the kid thinks he's gay or thinks he's, transgender, and he wants to have the surgery, and the parents say no. Now, there's states that want to go after the parents. There's a woman right now, she's running for Congress. No, wait. Well, she introduced the bill. There's a congressman right now, Perez, I think her name is, and she's introduced a bill in Congress that if your child wants to have this changes done, and I guess if doctors approve it or okay it, and you don't allow it, you could be charged with a felony or a crime. Yeah. Okay, now it's not law yet, and she's getting run against by a Green Beret Navy SEAL guy. I forget what state it is. Washington State. And she was from Peru. She's here for 2 years. I guess she's an American citizen. She ran for Congress. She got in. My point is, it has nothing to do with her or him. My point is that where are the rights? We're talking about 14th Amendment. We're talking about, does a child? We talk about a fetus. Same thing. The other thing, does an unborn child have a right? Okay. Next is, what about the born child? How much right does a child have? And can a child, under 18, or under 21, wherever you want to pick the number, do they have enough wherewithal, enough maturity to make a decision? Now, think about this. I'm throwing all kinds of things at you. You're 16 years old. You go commit murder. Now, how old was that guy Cruz who they wanted him the death penalty when he shot up all those kids down in Parkland, Florida? How old was he when he did it? 17, 16, 17? So you got a 16, 17-year-old. He's under 18. I think he was under 18. Kills 24 kids. Now, should he be convicted as an adult? Should he be executed? A lot of people say yes. Yeah. DeSantis say yes. So my point is, so if you got a 14-year-old who commits murder, goes into a school and shoots up everybody, and you're willing to try them as an adult and convict them, then what if that same 14-year-old wants to have transgender surgery done? Should you allow them to have the
Was that before or after he killed all those?
No, before. But my point is, you're gonna give them a standard of an adult, their mentality. You're saying no, they were 16, they were thinking plainly. They are mature enough. They should go into the the gas chamber or electric chair or whatever.
I see what you're talking.
But if you're
you're saying that if they don't have the brain power or wherewithal to make a decision about something like changing or making a change in their own body, how can we say that they should be thrown in jail and
well, pick your poison.
Away?
Well, pick your poison.
I mean, yeah.
So here's going. Listen, now a lot of people say that kid down in Florida should be executed. DeSantis said that, and again, hey, listen, if the parents want that and they think that's going to make them feel better, I think that's great. I don't think it's going to make them feel better. It's not going to bring them back to yellow. But my point is though, should we be executing babies? 14, 15, 16-year-olds. And they could be monsters. Don't get me wrong. Watch the movie Young Savages, a 1960 movie with Burt Lancaster.
I don't have to. I mean, there's a lot of true crime.
But now you go back to the question
with
is
young kids.
But now should we let? But okay, we treat young kids certain ways on certain things. For murder, they're all of a sudden they're an adult. But if they're not murder, you can't drive a car. You can't carry a gun. You can't sign a contract. You can't do anything like that. Now, what about
Here's a question for you.
So where is the...
You're a Christian.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
Now, same-aged kid, right? Same horrible crime. Where does religion stand on that when in the Ten Commandments there's thou shalt not kill? There's no age attributed to that. So where's your stand?
Well, when you say, right. But the other thing is, too, if you look at the Old Testament, eye for an eye, when you say shall not kill.
Eye for an eye.
I mean, if so here's the thing. I'll give you this. To answer that question as a Christian, I'm in my house with my family. Some crazy guy comes in with a hatchet and starts chopping up my family. Should I just sit there like a lamb and die? The Christians did that, or can I take out my? Can I take out?
But that's the thing, Mike. When you're in a moment like that, how much time do you have to actually think about?
I might have
stuff?
A lot. I got 10 minutes to think about it. He's downstairs banging on the door,
and you're waiting upstairs 10 minutes.
Well, no, I got time. No, time has nothing to do with it. That shouldn't make.
Make a decision.
I can make a decision. I can make a split decision in 30 seconds. I do it all the time in the operating room.
30 seconds isn't exactly split.
But that's besides the point. Whether or not I had time, I'll have plenty of time.
That's a half a minute of
okay,
thought.
I got 3-4 minutes, 10 minutes, 5 minutes.
No, I'm saying you've got like 2 seconds.
All right, but let's just say,
seconds.
all right, but what does that have to do with whether or not I kill somebody or not, and whether or not it's my right?
There is a heat of the moment element.
Okay, forget about the heat of the moment then.
Oh, you can't forget about
it.
Okay,
but so it's heat of the moment. 2 seconds, I make a decision, I kill you.
Yeah.
But you're knocking at the door, you're shooting bullets into the house. I call the police. I got plenty of time. They don't. About 10 minutes, they're not here yet. Finally, you break through the window and you come in shooting.
Right.
I'm loaded up. I got my gun.
Self-defense.
Yeah, but my point is, you're asking me, is murder okay? It says shall not kill. Understand the premise that you're talking about. You made the question, and I'm telling you, it shall not kill, but it's always a but. Life is always a but. There's always an exception. There's always a reason why we do things. Again, getting back to the transgender, which we're going to show some slides, understand the other side has a good argument. They're saying, listen, these kids are sick. We need to fix them, and the earlier we do it, the better off we are. So there's two sides to the coin. Just like the parents down in Parkland, they want that kid, executed. The jury said no. Other people are concerned. There was one holdout, and I could see, probably the holdout is he was a young kid. He's messed up. He's mentally ill or whatever. So, and I don't want to say there is no right or wrong answer on these things. That's my point. This transgender thing, there's no right or wrong answer, except we have to be very careful because these procedures, and I'm talking about the surgery and the blockers, could permanently change these individuals. And I'm not so sure.
Were there no stipulations to laws about such things, about body mutilation, and how it pertains to the doctors themselves who perform it?
Well, you got to understand the AMA, the Society of Pediatrics. They're on board with this. There's hospitals doing this. Let's go back. I'd
love to know. I'd love to know their whys and where they think and why they think they have that stance.
We're going to talk about that. Let's go here. Let's start with the whiteboard. So go to my iPad. Transgender in the United States. Let's just talk a few things here, so we understand where we're at. So this is a article. Go to my iPad. There you go. So this is an article, Jeremy. Get rid of the police share. Yeah. So this is an article at a USLA Williams Institute. Okay, and it's an article here for people on Spotify and at a podcast. You could look at this. So it says, how many adults and youth identify as transgender in the United States? This was June of 2022. And the authors here are Jody Herman, Andrew Flores, and Catherine O'Neill. I don't know who they are, but they wrote this article. I looked at it. So here's the data. It says, recent data from the CDC's Behavioral Risk Factor Surveillance System. And everybody could go look at this. That's the BRESS. This is so this is from the CDC.
And the Young Risk
Behavior Survey.
Yeah.
Okay, and blah blah.
An opportunity to update prior population estimates of the number of adults and youth who are identifying as transgender in the United States in 2016 and 2017. Okay.
Right, and then they did another 17. So this is a little bit dated, but point is that, and it's from not everybody and not every state.
An idea,
right.
Though.
So here's the numbers. Over 1.6 million adults ages 18 and older and youths ages 13 to 17 identify as transgender in the United States, or 0.6% of those ages 13 and older. Hang on a second. Excuse me, I had a cough.
No,
so about 1.6 million, that's 0.6% of the population. Okay, and I don't get into this argument, it's only a small amount or it's a large amount. It doesn't matter. If one child or one person in this country is transgender, we should be helping them. We should be talking about it. We should make sure. My whole idea here, Jeremy, is we want these people to have the best care, right? We want them to experience what the founding fathers, life, liberty, and the pursuit of property or prosperity, like the 14th Amendment says. So among U.S. adults, 0.5%, about 1.3 million adults identify transgender. Okay. So the other statistic is about 38% are women, 35% men. I don't know where they come up with that. That's only 60%. Let me see. Gender. So this is all the statistics that they have. So, that's what they call themselves. Okay. So research shows transgender individuals are younger on average than the U.S. population. Would find that age 13 to 17 are significantly more likely to identify as transgender. So it seems to be something, racial and ethnic distribution of youth and adults who identify as transgender appears generally similar to the U.S. population. So it doesn't seem to, it's pretty equal there. Yeah. And Northeast, Mideast, again, you could look at this. And I just wanted to throw this out, that the amount of people, how many people we're talking out there, this affects in the schools, right? Now, if you look at how many of this are school ages 13 to 17, right? They break it down here. So adults and 13 to 17 is about in the U.S., it's about 300,000 youths. So you're talking about a small amount of people, okay? But it's still a significant amount of people. And forget about the young kids. There's adults too. So you have in this country, almost 2 million, 1.6 million. And I think that's a big enough crowd of people. Even if it was one or two, like I said, we should be concerned about them.
Yeah, but that 0.6, all right, that are kids 13 and older. How many of those kids are legitimately, say, like straight up one are truly a transgender, and how many are accidentally bundled in because they're confused? That's
Well, that's
my
not-
that's
yeah,
my
yeah, well, that-
that's
but-
my worry
okay,
as
but
a
that-
parent.
right, right,
That's
right,
definitely
right,
my worry.
Right, but that's a different issue here. I'm just trying to
I'm not
identify.
saying it's part of the same.
No,
issue.
but you're yeah.
Because I'm also thinking.
Well, you're
about
criticizing-
while you're going while you were reading all through that. This is what was going through my mind. I was also thinking of us as a peoples, and where our frame of minds were with what was proper.
put our picture in the bottom, please, Jeremy.
Yeah. Hold on.
Just hit that. Yeah.
Yeah. What was proper long ago? What was
Okay, but stop.
for all of us as a group, and how this has grown. Now, media, or mass media and
Right,
internet
right.
has changed, and that now we
Right,
have we have more kids getting. I think they get confused. A lot of them. Now, not all of them. Some of them are finding a place in all of this, but how many are confused and they're in the wrong place? And I worry about those.
Okay, so you're just criticizing the data numbers. Okay, and then you could criticize.
I
Well, that's what
mean,
you are. You're saying
no, I am.
That's
I
not
am.
fine. That's fine. This is
The
CD.
numbers, because
okay,
the numbers don't ask a lot of questions.
Listen to me. I understand.
Like, I'm trying to tell you, you're shutting me down on these questions. I'm saying
It's not a question.
These are this. No, yeah, it is. It is.
Okay, so
asking how many.
Okay,
of
Jeremy.
Them are,
Okay, say it's 500,000.
What are you doing?
No, but you're missing the point here. I know you go on and on. It doesn't matter if it's less than this.
Yes.
Why? What does it matter?
Well,
if
all
it's,
right. Well, all right.
say it's only 500,000 in the whole country.
Well, let's say World War II, they only killed 1,000 Jews. Is that enough? See, that's what I'm
no,
trying to say.
I'm saying it doesn't matter the numbers. They're
The numbers matter. All the numbers matter.
well, it could be more, it could be less.
Yeah, I know, but all the numbers matter.
Yes, they do.
And you have to ask the right questions to
But we didn't get to that.
correlate those numbers in the right spots.
Right. Well,
I think this is a generalized number, this 0.6.
Yeah. My point about it is that I just wanted to let people know how many people out there, what level of people we're talking about that are declared themselves. This is only 13. This is only a few states that they were able to quarry.
See, I get that, but I don't forget the unspoken numbers that are lost in all of this.
But I don't want to. See, I'm not. This is what I don't want to do.
Someone
Jeremy.
has to speak
right,
up
I understand, but I don't want to go down a road here. This is not what I'm just talking about.
No,
I understand where you're coming from. You want to. The article, you could criticize it. How many people? The show is not about how many people are transgender. How many people think they are or not? They think they are. That's my point. My point is that you have this population out there, whether or not you think it's large or not. But my point of this is you have people out there, and it's growing, and it's a lot of young people out there. It's a lot of adults too. That's all I wanted to bring out because these are our these are our fellow citizens.
The adults, the adults I'm not worried about. I'm worried about the percentages of that 0.6 that are just lost. And they're seeing friends finding liberation in all of this, and they want to feel that too because they're so confused. But are they truly transgender, or do they really believe that they fit into that nook? Because I've seen some teens who went that way, discovered how horrible and unchangeable
why don't you hold
is.
that thought, because I'm bringing that up in a little bit later in the discussion. I understand where you're coming from. That's what I was trying to tell you.
I would have segued in right there.
No, but I was not ready for the article.
Right.
What I wanted to just make a point is that, Jeremy, is that there's people out there's it's not 50% of the population. It's 0.6% of the population, maybe 1% of the population that has this issue. Okay, so it's a small percentage, but it's still every human being is important, and it's becoming a flashpoint in our politics. People, a lot of people are going to vote one way or the other in these elections. It's going to make a difference between people voting Democratic or Republican, depending on how they feel. And what I wanted to make people understand is that if, say, you're a middle of the road individual, independent, and you are really like, oh my God, these people are getting shitted on. You know, these poor kids can't get their gender change, and we got to change this. And they're going to vote for some radical leftists who, on every other issue, is crazy, and they're thinking that this issue they're going to champion. And what I'm saying is first of all, you know, it's a small percentage of the population. Number one, albeit though that one person is important, but we need to bring in perspective. Again, I go back. Who makes the decision on the young kids? I don't care if you're over 21, you want to have your sex change, you want to have your, you know, whatever you want to have, fine. The real question is, from a medical standpoint, there's 2 points. Should you have it done earlier? Would that help you? I don't know the answer to that. I'm not prepared to discuss that. Okay. Number two is, how many of these people are really transgender, if there is such a thing, or they're confused? I don't know that, and I didn't prepare to talk about that. My thing here is the students' rights, or the kids' rights, and the parents' rights. And as you as a parent, will you fight if the school comes down and says to you, you have no right in your child what we teach them, right? We're going to teach them sex education, anal sex, anything we want. We're going to teach them that whites are bad. We're going to teach them blacks are bad. Whatever it is,
no, we're going to.
If they're 14 years old and they need an abortion, we're going to send them to the abortion clinic, and you're not going to know about it.
When
you
we
don't
speak up. We're called domestic terrorists.
Now, my point is that's where I wanted this to go, Jeremy. Is where do you think? That's why I asked you the rights of parents. What's actually on the ballot this November is, do the parents have the rights? One of the reasons why Youngkin won in Virginia is he ran on the aspect of the parents have the right to go what's going on. There was a kid who was transgender, went into the bathroom, was allowed in the women's bathroom, and raped the girl.
Yeah,
they covered that up from the parents.
Yeah.
The parents didn't know. Then the kid was sent somewhere else.
They dragged that little girl's father out of a school board meeting and handcuffed him because he was arguing about the fact because they were still talking about that shit in the school boards.
Okay, so
it's terrible, and
right. So my point here is I know where you're calling about, and I don't want to really get into that. I don't mean to upset you, but you know the whole thing about whether or not these kids are confused and the numbers, you know, that they come out with. Some people come out with 10% of the population is transgender. Other people say it's 1.6. This is CDC. I'm just setting the stage for the discussion we're having. How many people this affects? Right. Listen, I'm all about don't hurt anybody. So let's go back to the iPad. So this is an interesting one. I think you're going to love. So this one here. This is an article, and this is out of this is January 12, 2022. Okay, and this is state senator. This is a state senator. Law allowing teens to change gender without parental consent is insane. So this is an article here. This is by Munson Show, Wednesday. Young people in Washington State can't legally buy cigarettes or vaping products until they're 21 years old. But teens as young as 13 can now pursue gender reassignment medical procedures now that a Democratic-backed law has taken effect. Okay? And let me just put here, failed to proceed, covered the foreign. Okay. So state moved the legal purchase of cigarettes to 21, yet he continued his new 2022 law allows children as young as 13 to begin process of gender reassignment. And here it is. Here's interesting. Equally frustrating for the senator. Insurance companies cannot deny the treatment. So even if parents don't have to, even if the parents don't have to be consulted, parents are winding up paying for it. So the co-pays and stuff like that. So I'm just reading this article here. Is there anything you're picking out here? So you have so this is a law here. I don't know this is in Washington State.
I mean, if they're going to allow children to do this without parental supervision, then they can drink at any age. They can do drugs at any age. They can do. I mean, like, why are we stopping them from drinking when they can full on mutilate their bodies?
Exactly.
Like,
well, that's a good question.
It doesn't make any sense. Because the one
okay.
thing, it's like they might hurt other people, okay, and themselves, of course, if they're drinking. But the other is they're definitely hurting someone, themselves, and possibly parents and family.
Right. When I was 18, Jeremy, the drinking age was 21. When I was 16 or 17, the drinking age was 21. Vietnam War was cranking. Kids were getting killed who were 18 years old. When they came home, a lot of people in this country, there was a push to legalize alcohol consumption to 18. And that was passed in New Jersey. So back in 77, 78, 79, drinking age was 18. Why? Because if you could die in Vietnam, well, you could goddamn get a drink.
Right.
Now, you could go in the military and die at 18 and you still can't get a drink.
Yeah.
But you can mutilate yourself. So here, in 2020, Washington State moved the legal purchase of smoking and vaping products from 18 to 21 years of age because 18-year-olds aren't smart enough to make medical decisions. But yet, at age 13. Now, I don't know if they have to have parental. I don't know if they have to have parental consent here. That's the key. So go ahead.
That's flawed. I would have had younger than 18 because I talked to my son about it. And I was talking to my son when he was 13.
Younger than 18 doing what? What do you mean?
Vaping and such.
Okay.
I talked to because I was at a karate tournament that was happening in the gymnasium of a school, and we went to so we went out and we're sitting in the cafeteria, and all over the place, all over the cafeteria, there's like no vaping signs, and this is a junior high. Okay.
Right.
And I was like, and I said to my son, are there kids your age, like 13 at the time, vaping on school property? And he said, oh yeah, everybody. Everybody. And I'm like, really? So yeah, I think 18 and to 21, I think they shot a little high on that. It should have been way like 18 or 21 below should not be vaping. And those products should not be available to these kids.
Well, that's
as a parent, that's what I'm saying.
Right.
Like you can't. I mean, like again, with an age allowance bouncing around from 18 to 21. I know in England it's 18 years old to drink. But they're more responsible over there. A little bit. Maybe not the kids all the time, but the people themselves are more proper about it.
Yeah, no. So that's let's go back. Go back to the iPad now. So we have another thing here on this theme here. So this is another issue. Again, you got to remember we have states' rights. So what's interesting in this country, just like abortion, some states are going to allow it, some states are not, some states are going to modify it. So this is all over the place now. So here, out-of-state parents say California bill ignores their rights when kids want sex reassignment. So let's just say in your state, they don't allow sex reassignment. Yeah. You go to California, and there's a bill. I don't know if it got passed or not. Now, this is from the Center Square, and this was Center Square, September 22nd, 2022. And so let's go here. Parents' rights groups say they have several grave concerns with this is Bill SB 107, which would allow California to take temporary emergency jurisdiction of a child that came to California for transgender operations or drugs, effectively stripping parents of their authority over the children.
Because what's stopping a kid going one state over and getting this?
Well, state law. Well, but you're right, and this is another issue where this is a very unique law thing. Because let's just say I could carry a gun in Florida, right? I'm allowed to carry a gun in Florida. I go to New Jersey, I can't carry a gun. Okay,
right? Because
New Jersey don't allow it. So this is and now this is the opposite. Or opposite. A state does not allow the parent or the kid can't have the sex change. And the parent doesn't want it. Let's just say the state allows it, but the parent doesn't want it. They take it to the next step. They not only allow it, but they tell the parents they can't have any say in it. You got two issues here, Jeremy. You understand what I'm saying? You got two issues. One is, getting back to our theme of our show, does the parents have the right to make a decision on a child, whether or not they have surgery, whether or not they don't have surgery, any surgery for that matter, whether or not they could do,
my answer to that is yes, they should have the rights.
Okay.
We're supposed to have the rights.
Okay, well.
But currently, we do not.
Well, in California, they're passing this legislation here, which I thought, people should look into it. So it's SB 107. And I don't know if it got passed. I don't follow California law.
Like, am I sovereign, Mike?
That's a good point.
Right? Am I sovereign? No,
So-
I'm not. I don't feel it. I don't feel like my parental rights mean anything.
Right. So here's an interesting thing right here. SB 107 makes California akin to the Pied Piper, enticing minor children nationwide to leave their families, run away in pursuit of harmful drugs and sterilization surgery, all of which cause irreversible harm to the minds, bodies, and family relations of American precious children. The letter said, according to the American College of Pediatricians, 80 to 95% of children who experience gender confusion will ultimately embrace their biological sex if not enough encouragement, if they are not encouraged to pursue gender identity treatments. Children experiencing gender confusion need the love, support, and guidance of their parents. This is controversial. That's why I didn't want to get into specific, like you said. They're confused. If they don't have it, they'll be fine. I believe that. But bigger picture here is, does the parents have the right?
But that's the importance of puberty. Puberty, a lot of many kids that are suffering from gender dysphagia, I think it's called.
Yeah.
They get course corrected going through puberty. But we're talking about a lot of these percentages where they're prepubescent teens that are making these decisions.
But they shouldn't be.
They shouldn't be because going through puberty, it changes your body
Well,
chemistry. Hold on. It changes the way you're, the way you think. And,
Right.
I mean that we have to protect something.
Well, here, stop hitting the table
all
for a minute.
that.
Well, who's doing it, Jeremy, is the state now is going to make the decision. The state's going to make the decision, not even for the kid. They're going to make this decision if the kid knows what they're doing. So the state and that's where the government should not be making any decisions for you or me. No. So you make a good point. And you say if you're salient, no, we're taking the law. But here's a great thing here. Parents have the fundamental right to direct the upbringing of care of their children, which includes making the best decisions regarding the child's mental, emotional, and physical health. Stop on that. How about we ask the question, do parents or should parents, not may, I'm saying they may, should, parents should have the fundamental rights to direct the upbringing and care of the children, which includes making the best decisions regarding the child's mental, emotional, and physical health. I'll go back and ask you this question. May the parents have the fundamental right to direct the upbringing and care of children, which includes making the best decisions regarding their child's mental, emotional, and physical health. So may. So the state of California is saying, no, you may not.
Yeah.
No, you may not. Now, that's the key, what this program is about. Should the parents should have the right to make the fundamental rights, not may. California is saying, you know what, it's a may thing. We'll make the decision whether or not you have the fundamental rights.
First they want to kill your babies within your belly. Now they want to remove your rights from the child once they're born.
All right, chop me out of this.
I mean, that's really thick, don't you think?
Sick or
yeah.
Listen, Jeremy.
So wait. So I'm a woman, and people are arguing like, you should be able to kill your baby, and now once the baby's born, you have no rights over that baby. That baby wants to be a woman, not a man, So, and we can tell by the way it's winking right now.
All right, so
it's ridiculous.
I know.
Though.
Hey, listen, let's go. I got some more.
Where did we come? How did we get here? This is like 2 short years, and the whole world went mad.
This is the communist. This is China. This is our communist people in this country. This is the.
Why do you think the Red Scare was such a big deal? Because we didn't want to have to deal with all this shit.
This is the democratic social democracy, AOC.
Yeah.
You know what? Hitler had. They talk about fascists. They're the fascists. They had mercy killing in Germany. We had eugenics. Remember our last show? We talked about it. Go back and archive that. This is all in their wheelhouse. Now let's go back to the iPad. I want to just continue on this while I'm on a roll here. So here's another one. This is from the Heritage Foundation. I tell people should look into this. This is an article from March 24th of 2021. School districts are hiding information about gender transitioning children from their parents. This is unconstitutional. So here you go here. This is key takeaways. In Montgomery County, Maryland, educators are actively keeping information about something as critical as a student's gender identity preference hidden from parents. Parents not only have the U.S. Constitution on their side, but they have the protections of the Federal Education Rights and Privacy Act as well. So people could, go look at those things if they're going to fight this, okay? So according to this article here at Heritage Foundation, you not only have the Constitution, but you have federal education rights and privacy acts as well. Constitution and other federal law do not grant public school districts the authority to circumvent parental consent or notification in these matters. Again, schools, think about it, are the government, but they're under the executive branch. Okay, they're not. Schools. You have Congress. And you have the president, which is executive branch, and you have the judicial. So schools. The Department of Education. It didn't exist before Carter. So these are mandates coming from Department of Education. They think they could write laws. They think they can mandate and say what they want to say. That's one of the reasons why I think we should get rid of the Department of Education and let it go back to the states. But my point is that this is they talk about a threat to democracy, that Republicans and MAGA, we're a threat to democracy. In the meantime, who's pushing this agenda? This is the left, who keep on the TV. You're going against democracy. No, this is against democracy, people. This bullshit here. I don't care whether or not you say the kid should have it or not. If a parent wants, to decide that the kid needs it and they want to have it, we could have the discussion. But here, it's taking the parents out completely is wrong.
Yeah,
definitely wrong.
Yeah.
And to also the other side of the coin, if the parents don't have a procedure done that's controversial, that's permanent on a child, that they could get a felony charge like this Representative Perez is pushing in Washington. I hope to God she loses. There's a Navy SEAL running against her. I can't think of his name. He lost his wife in Afghanistan. She was killed. Okay, and this is they're talk about it. So let's just go here a little bit more. So America has long recognized the importance of parental rights. A parent's rights to oversee the care, education, and control of the child is guaranteed by the 14th Amendment and confirmed by the Supreme Court in 1923 in Meyer versus Nebraska, as recent as 2020 in Texas versus Granville. To raise and educate a child as parents see fit and always has been on par with the other fundamental, constitutionally guaranteed rights. Worryingly, one school district in Maryland is acting like parental rights are no longer valued. In Montgomery County, Maryland, educators are actively keeping information about something as critical as student gender identity preference hidden from parents. Okay, so, and this is direct, generally guaranteed rights and is a violation of Family Educational Rights and Privacy Act. Again, this is an older article, but I think people should, I don't want to keep reading this, but this is interesting. This is Heritage Foundation was talking about what our rights are. So parents, you have the rights to say what your child gets, what doesn't they get, but also you have the right to be known, to be told about it. All right, which is not happening. They're not being told about it, which is crazy. Which is crazy. What do you think about that one?
I think. Well, I think I'm not going to say what you want me to say.
No.
But I think about those children's beauty contests. Okay,
right,
where their parents are sending their kids and getting their teeth pulled out, all of their teeth,
right,
having them fitted with dentures.
Yes,
so they can have pearly whites. Now, maybe we should have been arguing all the way back then.
It starts in Italy. Yes.
Instead of just being disgusted by it, maybe we should have spoken out about it, because now we're here and we're wondering how we got here. You know what I mean? Maybe we should have been like, because pulling all your kids' teeth out and getting them fitted with dentures just so they can have a pearly white smile on a beauty contest, that's sick. It's sick. It's sick in the parent. It's unfortunate for the child. who's being led to believe that this is what you've got to do. And if you be a winner and be a winner. So now we have a generation of children who are lost in themselves and want to get mutilated. And where do they even get the idea? It's out of, it's the doctors who allow all of this to happen. They have the procedures that allow this to be done. They're the ones that are getting paid. And I watch videos on Tucker where parents are bringing their kids to like drag or
Right.
transgender adults who are dancing, shaking their money makers, and and all of that, and the parents are acting like this is amazing,
Jeremy,
this is wonderful, and here's my tiny little kid here. Like look at his groin. He's showing it to you right there. We have dropped the ball as parents, I believe. And this is where we are, So it's a sort of like, you have to you're given your humble pie, now freaking eat it. We should have been complaining a long time ago. It should never have gotten to a point where our rights as parents were ever threatened.
Right. Well, remember what Reagan said: you could lose your rights in one generation.
No. Oh yeah.
Okay. And freedom is not free. Freedom is not free.
Yeah.
So let's go back to the iPad for me now, Jeremy. Go back to the iPad. So this is it. I noticed this.
But this is what happens when you don't speak out. You don't stop.
Well, you get complacent. You get complacent. But also, there's people who are on the other side. They have good intentions. There's a lot of, what is the road to hell is paved with a lot of good intentions. Okay? All right? So understand that. So here, new sex education standards become target in New Jersey. But here's the thing. Researchers say most parents support quality, inclusive sex education. That's a loaded, so this is the New Jersey Monitor. And you could read this article here. I just brought this up because what's going on here is the Department of Education in New Jersey, along with the Department of Education in Washington, come up with these standards. You understand? Now, who elected these people? Let's start with this. Who elected these people? Nobody. They're lifelong paid positions. State of New Jersey, though, does have a school board. All right, but the school board, I've been to school board meetings and I've heard them. You know what they say? We have no choice. This is mandated by the state. I talk to teachers. They go, I have no choice. It's mandated by the state. All right, let's go back to the state.
Hold on a second. What you said there is very interesting, considering it's almost the exact same thing Nazis were saying when they were captured. Oh, I was just following orders.
Yes.
And the Nuremberg trials say that is not an excuse anymore.
Right. Well, people don't want to lose their jobs. And now you got. So let's go to the state government. The state government, these people, you vote for the governor, and this is the agenda. So you get what you want, people. Mm-hmm. I mean, you get what you get. And so what's happening now is they're teaching these kids crazy stuff. And I'm talking kindergarten, first grade, second grade, third grade. Now, one thing you can do in New Jersey, so far as what I see, and I'm going to come to their side, they let you opt out, supposedly. So in other words, your child doesn't have to be subject to that. I guess they put them in a room somewhere when they're talking about this stuff. I don't know how you're going to follow that or monitor that. But my office girl, they were teaching her 10-year-old son about anal sex. Why does he need to know that? I go back to this. How about educating our children, not indoctrinating them?
Yeah.
How about, reading, writing, arithmetic? These kids don't need this. Let the parents do this. But again, getting back to whatever they want to teach here, it should not be up to them. The parents should be the ones who say, this is what's going to be taught. And forget about sex. How about what science they're taught and what curriculum they're taught? Yeah. Oh no, parents, you're too stupid. You don't know. We're gonna rewrite, the Civil War. We're gonna talk about critical race theory.
Yes, because truth is not truth.
Right.
Truth is opinion.
So going back to the last article, heritage. You said we got too complacent. Now we're telling people, get off your butts, join the school board, become a poll watcher, watch the this election that's coming up. Go into your local parties, become a poll watcher, a poll, criticize. There's another word, not a poll watcher, but evaluator.
Yeah.
Whatever it takes to get involved and change these, because these people out there, they think they're doing good. I don't think they're evil people, but in the meantime, you're losing your rights. And we have the fundamental rights to tell the teachers, and not but the state of New Jersey, the federal government, what we want these children taught. And I think there's going to be a rude awakening, this November, when the mama bears get up and start bitching. Now I see AOC is getting hurt; they're getting yelled at. I heard there's a whole bunch of Muslim fathers up in Michigan are losing their minds about their kids being taught this crazy stuff. They don't want it. And thank God for the Muslim fathers. I mean, they and there's Hispanics, Jeremy. The ones who came from South America, they're very Christian. They don't want this. They don't want their kids taught this bullshit.
They come from a simpler place. A lot of them do, not all, but a lot do. All right, and this stuff just doesn't happen. It's not in their life. It's not in their universe.
Well, whether or not it happens or not, they don't want it taught. They don't want it taught.
They don't. They're surprised that it even exists.
What do you mean exists?
Well, the people coming up from crossing the border from the south, they don't. I mean, how many of them know anything about transgenderism?
Oh, it's down there. It's in South America. No. I think you'll know.
Oh my God! But I think a lot of them are just down home people. Some of them are, some of them are criminals. Some of them are that. But I think a lot of them are like, what?
No. Listen, Jeremy. Yeah, maybe I don't want to say that
you don't know for sure either.
No, but I don't. But that kind of gives you the idea that they're uneducated, uninformed. If it's 6%,
no, not necessarily. If it's not in your life, that doesn't mean you're uneducated. It just means it's not in my life.
But I did research. It's there's gay, there's transgender. That doesn't.
Racism is not in my life.
Right. Well, but all right. Okay. Good. Whatever. But my point is that. They don't want, they see it here. The fundamental what they want is they want to teach their kids what they want to teach them, and this is where the big battle's coming on. And so let me just go here for a minute. Go back to the iPad. I want to put this thing about opting out, which is something that parents should understand that they have the right to do. So opting out, parents who don't want their children. This is New Jersey now. To learn about certain topics or sex education could opt out, the Department of Education said in a statement. A spokesman said the department does not mandate curriculum and local school districts create their own lesson plans. This guy, Golfort, said the concerted effort to fight comprehensive education hurts progress made in the LGBTQ community. So there's pushback on that. But said there's not lesson plans. So they did come out with it. People pushed back. And you can opt out of it. So if you want, you should be involved in your kid's education. You should be going to the school on teacher's night and asking, hey, what are you teaching my kid? And down in Florida, DeSantis passed a bill where you couldn't teach sex education kindergarten, first, second, and third grade, I think. And they went crazy. They called it the do not say gay bill or whatever, and which had nothing to do with gay. We don't want, again, should young kids be taught this? I think the schools could teach sex education, but what age? And first of all, we should be able to say when and where and what. But I would, if I was a parent, I'd say, okay, maybe 13, 14. We're going to teach our own kids in our house.
Well,
now,
they used to also send out permission slips for anything any change that they were going to do in the school, be it a trip they were going on, or being like if being taught sex education. Sometimes that had to have been from a permission slip was needed to do all that stuff. Now, nobody gives a shit. Nobody asks permission or anything like that. They just do it or they sneak it. And you see a lot of that on YouTube and TikTok where these kids are sneaking in their phones and they're recording their teacher and trying to push like woke stuff or transgender stuff or whatever. It's abominable, and the parents have no say. They have no.
Well, listen. Let's go back here. So here's with this article, the argument here. So Kids don't know how to sign a check. They shouldn't be removing basic essential education for the sexual orientation and gender lessons in school. I think some things shouldn't be taught in schools, or you teach them way down the line, but you don't have to incorporate it with every aspect of your studies, she said. Researchers say the opposite. Teaching topics like inclusivity and consent leads to increased reporting of sexual violence, decreased use of drugs and alcohol before sex, and safer, more empathetic interpersonal relationships. Hang on a second, I got you. And then the other one agrees. But listen to this. Benjamin, a Bergen County resident who asked not to be identified due to his job, says son in first grade who will be learning some of these topics in the fall. He agrees with Shields on the impact that topics have on promoting inclusivity and support for at-risk youth. I feel that these are important things to be educating our children about. So there's people who want this. Now, Benjamin has a son who was bullied because he likes to wear pink and likes unicorns. Excuse me, I got a little bit of a cold. But his son also likes trucks and dinosaurs, things he wasn't bullied for by the kids at the school. Kids already know and understand gender roles. He's a boy and says he's a boy, and I think he's a boy, but he's still getting bullied. It's already a part of their lives. So having more education around it reduces harm, he says. I think it's just really important. So you got two sides of the argument there, Jeremy, but I go back to this. I think education is important. I think what's taught to the kids, though, needs to be okayed by the parents. I think the parents need to be told what's going on. I don't believe that the school should be doing this in the dark shadows without parents' consent. And I think that, what they teach, if your child, is transgender and he's in the third grade, well, then you know what? Let's have counselors talk to him. Let's the parents get involved. And if there's any bullying, that should be stopped immediately. The school should be able to deal with that. Bullying for any reason. If you're too tall, if you're short, if you're black, if you're Hispanic, if you're white, bullying. I mean, I seen bullying when I went to school back in the 70s, in the 60s. I mean, I went to a Catholic school, there was no bullying, but when I went to the public school, there was bullying. I saw kids get beat up in the bathroom.
Oh yeah.
I mean, so that that's. But what you can't throw the baby out with the bathwater, and this craziness about taking these the parents' rights away. That's my main concern, Jeremy. I want to go here. There's one other. So what with your kids? Did they ever? When did in your school when your kid went to school? When did they start teaching sex education?
Oh,
do you remember?
It was.
Did you have any involvement in it? Like, did they ask you or?
It was in junior high. Yeah, there was we were notified and and all of that. And my son came home and said it was the worst day of his life. But
how old was he when they did that?
What is he? 16 now. He's a junior in high school. So it was in junior high. So it was about 3 or 4 years ago. 3 years ago maybe. And 4 years ago, and it was. But also when it was time for his communion or confirmation, I forget which.
Mm-hmm.
He was asked by the. This is when he was a part of the Catholic Church. He needed to have a special sit down with a pastor. And he went, and we were, before he had that, we were told that he was going to have to pray for pastors who have been kitty fiddlers and stuff. And
really?
Oh, yeah.
And how old was he?
And he was, this was further back. It's about 7 years ago.
So how old was he at that time?
Oh, he was about, when do you get your communion or your confirmation?
7th, 8th grade, I forget.
Yeah, so it was around there.
Maybe 6th grade. I don't remember. I got mine. I don't remember. That's a good question.
Yeah, but
maybe when you turned 14.
They wanted to talk to him about preachers who are doing this sort of thing.
Really?
Oh yeah, we pulled them out of the church. No,
wow,
tough shit.
Well, that's crazy.
That's not going to happen because that is what happens when you have parental powers.
Right.
Okay. We can see something like that happening and say, you know what? No, that's not from us. It's not for us, because you also have to. We're talking about these parental powers as if there's somebody else's thing. They are our thing. Okay. This is our our powers over our child. We raise him, we feed him, we buy him clothes, we care for him, we give him every opportunity we can possibly can for him, okay? And you want to tell us that we don't have the power to say what's going on with him?
Right.
Nah.
Right. Well,
sorry about that.
Let's go. That's a good point. Let's go back to my iPad. This is our last thing, and just and what are we on time, Jeremy? Put the arrow back in there so I can see. Okay, so let's. This is the last one. So This is an article right here. I think it's. I don't know if it's out of Politico. Let me see. Transgender care that states are banning. Explain. This is real quick. This is 3/25/22. So there are trans kids in medical care. The makers of puberty blocking drugs, which are used in transition-related medical care for minors, are now under investigation by Texas Attorney General Ken Paxton, part of a larger national fight against the care, such care for minors. Now, this is interesting here. I want to just go back down here, and so here it is. The number. This is another statistic. The number of minors who would be affected by these laws is unclear. In 2017, this is the one we just talked about. The William Institute, UCLA School of Law, put the numbers of transgender teens between 13 and 17 at 150,000, or 0.7% of kids in that age group. That same year, the CDC estimated that 1.8% of high school students identify as transgender. Not all those teens received gender-affirming care. So, what exactly are states banning? They're fighting back. Most states targeting gender-affirming care are prohibiting medical interventions, including surgery for transgender youth. Medical treatment can include puberty blockers, hormone therapy. Banned surgeries include chest masculinization, as well as procedures that leave patients sterile, even though clinicians don't perform sterilizing procedures on people under the age of 18. Clinicians are worried that apathy towards transgender medicine will migrate to medical health care, which is a key part of treatment. In Texas, health providers who have halted medical treatment still provide consulting, but at least one family sought emergency medical health care for their transgender teen in Oklahoma instead of Texas for fearing of being reported to the state officials. Listen, this is a tough thing, Jeremy, okay? And, there's two sides to the coin here. And, but I think that I want to end this by this. You could put me back here. We could go on and on. You make a good point. You make the real good point about how many of these kids will turn around who are just, thinking they are transgender and they're not. Yeah. That's a good point. I want to say that.
I have watched a lot of transgenderism documentaries. In fact, Tucker Carlson did a great one called Transgressions. The cult of confusion, it's called.
Right.
And in there, he talks with people who have gone through it and have regretted it. You see these young girls with these double mastectomies holding up their arms, and you see this hideous scar across their chest.
Right.
So I've been researching a lot about this.
Right.
And there's just it's awful.
Right. Well, here's the thing,
though. It's truly awful, though.
Here's the thing. I'm trying to put, because there's several issues here that I want to point out and illustrate. One is parents' rights with children. No matter what they do, what they're taught in schools, what procedures are done on them, all of that, the parents should be aware of and have a input in the decision making. That's number one. That's my stance, okay? Yeah. I'm running for Senator of New Jersey.
Are you really?
Yeah.
Oh.
Number two, this is not new when we have people. You could go back in the literature and look at when people talked about gay people. Same, stuff. They're misinformed. They had a lot of procedures to try to change their, we send them to an institution. Yeah. This is no good. And, they actually tried to do procedures on these patients, give them medication, lobotomies, all this crazy stuff. And so we have a different thing. Listen, these people, I don't know, what you want to say is they're sick. They have somebody who's born a man and is bisexual or homosexual, all right? That's something that God, they were born that way. They don't choose that. And I really don't know how many of these people are born. And there's some people who experiment with being homosexual or female, male, and they it's not what it's their cup of tea, or maybe they're bisexual in the middle. The human mind is complicated. But listen, if you're going to be a man and you're gay and you're going to go with a man or a woman and you're lesbian, you know what? If you do that for 10 years, there's no harm. I mean, what you know what I'm saying? But we're talking a different thing. These people who are born who have an issue where little Johnny is wearing dresses and all of that, and it's not just gay, but really it's different. There's a difference between gay and transgender. You understand, Jeremy?
Yeah.
You understand that they, and that's a medical issue. I don't know the ramifications, where it is in their brain. Is it a hormone? I don't know. That's not the argument. These people should have the same right to pursue life, liberty, and the pursuit of property. 14th Amendment. We agree on that?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Now, where it's getting crazy is that when they're young, they're doing permanent procedures.
Damage.
Permanent. Well, when you say damage,
No, it's damage.
Whatever. Listen, and
listening to people who have had it and
Right.
are reporting the damage that they feel, I got to go with there
But
because they're the only ones that have the right frame of reference to even answer that.
Well, I can tell you right now, I have a friend, his brother was transgender. He was miserable. He had the sex change, and now he's doing very well, supposedly. I mean, Bruce Jenner, seems to be functioning in a better place now.
Seems.
I don't know, but my point is that they did it when they're older. They did it. Excuse me. When they,
I mean,
Right.
with Jenner, you gotta think,
well, if there's one, there could be many, Jeremy.
No, I agree.
You have to be careful about going down whether or not this is right or wrong. But think about it.
But Jenner, he was long in the tooth. That he decided, hey, I waited all this time. I'm freaking doing it. Fine. Yeah.
I think that with young kids, my opinion is that until it's rock solid in the literature, which it's not, until we really know what's going on, which we don't, we should be backing off on having these kids. We should give them therapy, support them, don't tolerate bullying. If they want to wear, makeup, dresses, that's fine. But when they talk, when we let doctors and institutions remove the breasts of girls and young girls, minors, and remove the penis in their scrotum and or do vaginal stuff and give them powerful drugs that are off label, by the way. I think we're going down the road, and then what happens is that how much of these institutions, it becomes a business. They're making a lot of money. And the beta block, I mean, the what do you call it? Puberty blockers. People are making big money. I think we have to back off. I think number one, the parents should have the right to deal with this stuff. Number two is we should, states that banned it, we should also say to them, well, maybe make sure that you're doing the right thing. Maybe when they turn 18, they could have it done, or 21. It's a tough issue, but we cannot not have the parents involved. And if the parents decide that the child shouldn't have it done, they should not be penalized. Just like this Perez in Washington wants to have a felony charge against them. That's insane. That's insane. So anyway, on that note, Jeremy, I think let me get back to your point, because you made a good point. I know I cut you off a little bit. So just expand on that with transgender and these numbers, about how many are out there. So what's your concern about people? Because this is, wait, let me just set you up, because the one article I had did talk about that. How many of these people who they're 10, 11, 12, they think they're a boy or they're a girl, they think they're a boy, if they're a boy, they think they're a girl. How many of them, might not, if they're not groomed, if they're not persuaded, if they're not pushed into it, that they're going to go back and go with the regular flow? Yeah,
that's the thing. That's the real question.
That was your insight, which I think is a good insight.
Statistic that we need to determine. Like, it's not enough to say, well, 0.6 of them want to do that. Yeah, but how many don't? Or how many are confused? I don't think we've fine-tuned enough of these questions. We're asking questions we want the answers to,
Yeah.
But we're not asking the questions we don't want the answer to, and it's all of those kids that are that go in confused, and then it happens to them, and they're still confused, and now they're lost because they can't reverse the situation. That is my concern for those kids, those lost kids that are being slipped through the cracks.
Yes.
Those kids I worry about the most.
Right.
Yeah.
So, and I think therapy would help that. And, I mean, there should be absolutely, I think it's not a bad idea in school if there is, transgender kids, that the kids, the parents of the kid and the other parents, I say, listen, we have 2 or 3 transgender children. What do you want to talk to your children about it? We want to make sure this is an environment that everybody flourishes in. My granddaughter, we talked to her. And, she's asked me, we've been, years ago, we were in New York City. We went to Starbucks. The guy's got all makeup on. She goes to me, is that a boy or a girl? And I said, well, I think it's a boy. He's got makeup on. Why does he have makeup on? And I said, well, he likes, he might be, so I tell her at her age, maybe he's an actor or whatever, She's not going to understand, transgender. And that's another thing. A 9-year-old, a 7-year-old, they say, oh, they know. They don't know. They still believe in Santa Claus and
I still believe in Santa Claus.
I know.
What are you talking about?
So
what are you talking about?
we also, what I think is important though is, you don't tolerate bullying. You don't tolerate people being laughed at. I mean, but they're going to get, if you're walking there, Jeremy, like right now, look at Jeremy. You put on a wig and makeup and wear a dress. I don't give a shit. People are going to look at you.
What are you talking about? I'd be a hot chick. What are you saying? Listen. I'm not so good looking a guy. So all I got left is hoping I'm a good chick.
But here's the thing. I would still treat you as a patient. I'd still talk to you. I'd sit down and have dinner with you. I would not. If you turned like you say, Mike, I'm like, you're fine. I'd still have you here working. I mean, I'd laugh at you a little bit and go, Jeremy, you look pretty funny. But my point is, I would respect you as a human being, and really.
I look funny. You should see my vagina.
But really, at the end of the day,
that was not a good joke.
No,
Sorry,
no. I think that's a great joke. I could just, but really, at the end of the day, it's all about respect, and everybody's equal under the law. And go back to the 14th Amendment, which is a law that was passed, an amendment after the Civil War. Everybody has the right for life, liberty, and pursuit of property, or you want to say happiness. And that means transgender, that means gay, that means black, that means white, that means everything else under the sun. And we need to, understand that. So with this big debate and everything, let's calm down. In the Constitution, I think Heritage Foundation and everybody else that I've read, the parents have the right. It's unconstitutional for them to do anything different. So that's number one. Number two is, in the schools, these kids, we should be not indoctrinating them. We should be teaching them. We should be teaching them, giving them information about.
Yeah, see, that's what I was going to bring that up. I was going to bring that up because back in the day, before internet, before all of that jazz, our sort of course that we would follow was looking at our parents. They were in love. They loved each other. Maybe they had arguments, but that was the dynamic we would grow up to: a man and a woman.
Right.
But now we have internet, which offers so many other options, and the kids are seeing it. And I think a lot of them, and again, that percentage that I worry about the most, are going down the wrong path.
Right. Well, we should be educating our kids, not indoctrinating them, And here's the thing: the parents are the best ones.
There's so much transgender stuff around today. This is also what I was going to say earlier. There's so much transgender stuff going around today that where is it okay if we start putting up or talking about straight life, and all of that, or we would be punished for even thinking such a way?
Well, I don't know. Yeah, I think the battle here is that
because we used to talk about our little boys and our little girls being little gentlemen and little ladies. Okay,
right.
Could we say that again today?
Yeah, but I don't think I would be in a classroom telling the class again anything. I wouldn't sit there and go, what's normal is heterosexual, male and female. Although,
I was playing devil's advocate against the transgender people. Like they're doing these dances in front of little kids. No. What about just an assembly about straight life.
Right.
And what that means.
Right.
And everything that goes with
just
it.
like say, we talked about it, just say no. Just say N-O for drugs. Now they say just no, K-N-O-W.
Yeah, that's
Hashtag
that's
just
stupid.
Right.
We said that was stupid,
Right,
and
right.
it's still
Well,
stupid.
and so what happens is just like with abortion, they went crazy. You know, abortion, the Democrats and Republicans, we agreed it should be rare. It should be, maybe the first trimester, 12, 15 weeks, and that's it. What happened is these communist, social democracies, democratic socialists got in and pushed the agenda. In New Jersey, you could kill a baby before it's born.
Right.
And then maybe, states in New York State, New York City, 24 weeks on demand. And then after that, another, until the end, as long as you got 2 doctors right off on it, which at least it's a little bit. And my point is, we went too far. It scared a lot of people. So now it's snapped back. It's going to say, you know what? Now some states are going all the way like nothing unless the woman got raped or whatever, which I think is a little too aggressive. Now, what's happening with the transgender? We all are accommodative. Every school I've been to, every parent, they want listen, the kid's weird. There's other things. You don't have to be transgender if you're gay. What about the kid who's gay? They should be equal. What if you're super tall or super short? What if you're in a white school and there's only 3 or 4 black kids? You're going to get your balls busted because you're black? Or the opposite. What if kid gets moved into Newark or whatever, and there's 90% blacks and he's a white kid? Are they going to beat him up and bust his ball? None of that should happen. Right. None of that. And what if somebody's slow? What if somebody like you're a redhead? You come from Ireland. You got the skirt on. What is the kilt?
Scotland. Thank you. Yeah.
My point is that I don't mind being taught in the classes respect and no bullying, but that's again, the parents need to be able to be involved in that. This has got into, like you said, this has got sinister. They got kids that strip, they're doing all this crazy stuff. They went overboard, and that's human nature.
When was that ever okay?
No, it's not. And what it is, though, is because we got complacent. And you know what, Jeremy? It's not even complacent. You know what it is? Because we are so nice. We are so mellow. Human beings, even though people say, oh, you're terrible. No, we'll let a lot of stuff go because we don't want to be confrontational. We don't want to be violent.
Or a Karen or something like that. We're flipping out over everything.
Right. And that's Democrat, Republican. That's across the board. Most people are mellow. And now it's gotten out of control, and on a lot of levels. And I think that you're going to see this election, not just the Republicans, Democrats, they're going to vote for people who are going to bring back the values, the Christian Judeo values in this country. What is that? Free speech. And I don't mean don't censor content. Freedom of religion. And then freedom from fear. This thing about worrying about the FBI or us saying something on a YouTube. We're not cursing. We're not talking crazy stuff here. Right. It's normal stuff. This should be allowed and not censored. And then freedom from want. And these are the things that make this country great. This is an experiment. It's hard to keep this thing to go. But think about this, Jeremy, and I'll leave you with this. Where in the world can you have such diversity as what's in the United States? I mean, think about it. How many religions, races, and we all get along. Pretty much we get along, Jeremy, right? And prosper. And prosper. Where else? Show me where else in the world.
No.
Nowhere.
We're so diverse in this country.
It works.
Where else do you get that?
Right.
No, but
right.
this is my question.
All right, this is your last question.
My last question.
All right, give a question.
Okay. What age would you call this, I wonder? Like there was the industrial age, there was the push-button age, the age of information. Is this like the age of dystopia or the age of transgenderism? Like what would you call today? What age are we in now?
Well, I would like to say we're in the age of enlightenment, but there's a lot of things I could say. We're going, actually, unfortunately, we're going back to the age where we were tribalism.
Tribal age.
We're going back to where back in the day where you had one group here, one group there, and it's not even and when I say tribalism, that doesn't mean nationalism. Like we're Americans, or we're Germans,
indigenous people or something.
No, tribalism, and identity politics, where you're not judged by the character of your character, but judged by your color or your tribe. And so, if you ask me, we're going back 150, 200 years, 300 years, whatever. We're going back to that, and it's unfortunate. And I think the politicians are doing this for a lot of different reasons. But the people who are running this country and other countries, this is where we're going, and it's sad. And we don't want that, because I think in the world, the whole world, the only thing that's stopping the light from going out, just like with Hitler and Mao and Stalin and Genghis Khan. Well, before we weren't around, but the only thing right now that's stopping the world from going back to that, tribalism, darker ages is the United States, and specifically the people.
Yeah,
we still are salient, even though you don't think you are. We're still more salient. Sovereign. Excuse me, sovereign. Did I say salient? Yes, sovereign. Well,
we're not Sicilians.
No, not sovereign, and than anywhere else in the world. And if that deteriorates or goes away, not only will the United States fall and crumble, but the whole world. Yeah. You will have a different. You'll be back where there'll be.
Oh, the bombs will be flying.
Well, it'll be a dictatorship.
We are going to be. Well, using your famous saying that you like to say. I don't know how.
World War II is going to be III. No, I don't know how World War III is going to be fought.
But when the sticks and stones start flying,
World War
IV. Yeah,
that's a good point.
That's when we're going to worry.
All right, Jeremy, listen, this is Dr. Kachmar. This has been Scrubbing Up with Dr. Kachmar. If you want to get a hold of us, get us at, send us an email at drkachmar@icloud.com. That's ICLOUD.com. My web page, which is chock full of information, is JerseyShoreFootandLegCenter.com. Just JerseyShoreFootandLegCenter.com. My name is Dr. Michael Kachmar, board-certified reconstructive foot and ankle surgeon. My phone number at my office, if you want to give us a call, is 732-269-1133. Jeremy, if you want to see Jeremy, we put him back in the cage.
Right.
You could feed him. He's get fed every day at 6 o'clock.
No, I got a live show tomorrow with Dr. Gabriel Jasper.
Oh,
on Painless with Dr. Gabriel Jasper. That's going to be at. Was it 10 to 11 tomorrow morning?
People should go. It's on this channel. I mean, watch us. It's great. He's an unbelievable doctor. I work with him for almost 30 years now.
Master of pain.
He's an amazing individual. He could help you out. So anyway, thank you everyone, and have a nice evening. We'll see you. We won't see you next week. I'm away, but we'll see you the following week. Stay out. Well, I was gonna say with the ocean, stay out and stay alive, but stay safe.
Stay safe, everybody.
Right, take
and try
care.
to be kind to one another.